let's jump right into the live. So, you guys, are you depressed? 7 things I want to tell you. Let's jump right into number one. If you're in a situation where you're working at something, you're diligently focused, you're doing something for a particular goal for a long time, and right when you seem to be making progress, something happens. It could be something that seems small. You could be in a store and somebody starts an argument with someone. Maybe you, God forbid, you get drawn into it. Somehow there are other discussions you have to have outside of it because they're looking to find out what happened. Anything, um, any distraction. And then you forget, let's say you have to deal with something distracting like that for a 1 week or a 2 week period. And you actually forget that you were getting very, very close to your goal. That can happen. So, what is the first thing that I'm saying? Are you depressed? And the point I'm making here is remember where you left off. If you're working towards something and some distraction comes, no matter how big or small, as the situation or the scene gets more chaotic, become more still. As the people around you get more dramatic and expressive, and maybe expressing their anger, and maybe, being doing things on a whim, become more still, methodical, careful, and aware. Slow down everything and just get very, very still. Be aware of what's going on. Be aware that you're getting to a certain goal. Negativity does not want that. So all these little distractions, no matter how big or small, remember, where was I? You've heard people say, now where was I? Remember, where was I? It's actually very, very important because just when you're starting to get to something of value is when those kind of distractions, and they can be very silly. They can be very silly distractions, but can come in, take you off the goal. And something, if it takes you off the goal for a day, which turns into a week, which turns into 2 weeks, so glad that you guys are here. Give a thumbs up as you walk in the door. So glad you're here. Which turns into a week, which turns into 2 weeks. Imagine it can turn to months and years, and you forget that thing that you were working on, that you were walking right up, stepping right up to that advancement in your life. So are you depressed? 7 things I want to tell you. And that number one is, where was I? Remember where you left off. Because if you're getting to something of value, negativity is going to throw these little things in your way, or can throw these little things in your way, so that you forget that you were just stepping up to the point where you were going to have your breakthrough. So be mindful of that. That's number one. Number two, I saw something today about a celebrity being broke. Now, this particular celebrity, I don't believe is broke. But it brings us to this conversation because you guys know, and again, these are just our opinions, always consult a professional, but you guys know that we have many celebrities who follow us. In fact, this space that you're coming into is a space for celebrities and leaders. Warm, calm, peaceful. You can share anything you want to share within the guidelines. You can talk here or you can be quiet. And I think that's why, if you go to the website, you'll see some of the supermodels that follow us, some of the rock stars that have endorsed us. We create a space for celebrities and leaders to be at ease. So, number 2, are you depressed? We're at 7 things I want to tell you. Here's number 2. I saw something about a celebrity being broke. And this is an extremely wealthy celebrity. I mean, it has to be like beyond 1%, beyond 0.01, an extremely wealthy individual. And the headline was, something about this person being broke. And that really brings me to the next point that I want to make. No matter how much money you have, thank you so much for the hearts. You guys are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And Amir Collins says, kind of depressed. I think you're saying kind of depressed. Well, Amir Collins, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for those hearts. Also, give a like right now if you can. That would be wonderful. Doesn't cost you anything. Just give a like. But Amir Collins, I'm so glad that you're here. So many people are depressed, and you are certainly not alone. If you want, you can also share in the chat what kinds of things are making you depressed right now. You can share it or you don't have to. Just so glad that you're here. Hope you feel the warmth. Hope you feel welcomed. So happy that you came in the door. So I'm going to continue on this thing of number 2. And you can listen back to the live to see what we're talking about. You can go to the website, modelpoetry.com, because anybody who leaves a comment after the live is uploaded, we're including some of you on the website. And this is a website that, celebrities visit us. We're followed by some of the biggest celebrities. We are leaders, love what we're doing. And it's really just celebrities and leaders who follow us and pay us any mind. So we used to think, oh, what about this and that? Now we just accept it. It's celebrities and leaders. And that's actually wonderful, because you guys give the fuel to other people that are in maybe more broader groups, the biggest parts of the population, but you are the leaders that take these messages out there. So we want to make sure that you're fueled. So back to this idea, are you depressed? And this headline that I saw about a celebrity being broke, and an extremely wealthy celebrity being broke. If you have and I don't believe it's the case. The person was just positing this. I don't believe it's the case. They're just alleging this, but I want to still have a discussion about it. And Amir Collins, again, I'm so glad that you're here. If you have, I believe, a certain emptiness inside, you are going to, in some cases, be compelled to spend money that you don't have. Trying to fill that emptiness would be a difficult thing, would be something you can never fill with material things. You always have to go to your loving creator. As you try to do that, though, whether you have $10 or 10 million, if you are not full on the inside, if you do not have your mind straight, if you do not have a sense of your values and what matters, you can often go to material things trying to bridge that gap, trying to feel more of who you want to be, trying to fill a void that material things are not going to fill. So when we talk about this celebrity and this headline that they're broke, you would be astonished if you know this celebrity's net worth. But it's the idea that if you're not careful and develop yourself now before you get out there, no matter what kind of wealth you have, no matter what's in your bank account, you could be spending beyond your means because you're constantly trying to run after those things on the outside that you really need to figure out what's going on the inside. So that's number 2. So now let's go to number 3. Now, I saw another story about something unspeakable that these 2 people have done. And I'm not even going to go into the details of it. It's beyond words how awful. And now this is an extreme case, but I want to say for those cases that are not so extreme, but maybe what you're doing is just being unkind to somebody in your job, because everybody seems to be unkind to that person or unfair or dismissive to that person. So you just go along on the job, or you say nasty things. You want to get out some of that frustration or whatever the case may be. And then you wonder, why am I not happy? You're not going to be happy being unkind to people like that. It just doesn't happen. So be mindful. If you're feeling really poorly within, how are you treating other people, especially people who seem defenseless, especially people who don't seem to have the kind of power that you have? How are you treating that waiter? How are you treating that busboy? How are you treating that person that's mopping the floor, that low-level executive that's getting coffee for everyone, or low-level person assisting executives that's getting coffee and things of that kind? Very important, because if you're feeling depressed and you're not treating people right, you would be fooling yourself, in my opinion, to think that you're going to feel wonderful when you're putting something out there that maybe that person doesn't speak about it, but they go home and cry. They go home in frustration. They go home and imagine if that has something to do with something you did or said or treatment from you. It doesn't always have to be overt treatment. It can be a series of behaviors that start to really impact someone. So think about that. If you want to be happy, make sure no matter what level that other people around you seem to be on, do things to make them happy as well. You guys, I'm so glad that you're here. Again, you guys know that a lot of people that watch our live love the Finger Lakes, visit the Finger Lakes, live in the Finger Lakes, also love natural and organic foods, natural and organic products, and also just want to be a part of raising awareness about depression and bullying. You guys are wonderful. We have so many people that are asking to sponsor our content now. And you guys don't run away from our sponsors. When you hear about people like the Early Owego Antique Center in Owego, New York, or Flat Rock Wine Cellars in Hector, New York, or Guggen, or any of the companies, Ashione Gallery, that are so wonderful that we connect with in one way or another, you guys love to hear about. And you come to the website and you go to modelpoetry.com and you just experience it. And you share. One of the people on our recent lives, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, said, I told my therapist about you. And the therapist said that you were really inspiring. That is an amazing therapist that instead of discouraging you, they just encourage you to whatever helps, whatever assists. And that is an amazing person in our community, because we have people that are very young, but they also tell their parents about things that they hear on the show. So we have both of those communities really listening, and it is absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you leave a comment after the live is complete, we are going to be mentioning some of you on our website. And again, this is a website that celebrities go to, leaders go to, and we are just so happy that we're cultivating this community. Now, let me get to number 4. Are you depressed? Let's get to number 4, okay? And this also relates back to something that I saw today. This woman from another country was trying to explain why a particular group is jealous of another group in this country, in our country, in America. And it is just amazing because sometimes you will have these people that are from other countries or other ethnicities speaking out about issues that maybe would be more difficult for people to speak about. When they're living in it, they're not as objective. But they were talking about jealousy and that there are women from this particular group who a group that she's a part of, she was admitting that they're jealous. And that is really important for number 4. When we ask, are you depressed? Jealousy is a major, major thing. And I want to discuss it today in the context of, I think it's very hard to be jealous of others when, not hard to be jealous in general, but when you're really starting to get in touch with who you are, with the gifts that you have, with what you are supposed to be doing. You know, the thing is, in this day and age now, you have with social media, and you have with these close-up looks of those who are influential, there is, of course, that inclination to be so jealous because people, oh my goodness, they show you the wealth that they have, the clothes, they want to highlight their relationships. But one thing that they have is marketing. Because no matter, and I've said this before, no matter what their life is like, no matter how they're enjoying it or not, they will try to make you envy them in certain situations. They want you to be jealous. And in other situations, you know, it's just about monetizing their lifestyle. So no matter what it is, let's say they drink a lot of coffee. They will glamorize that for you. Let's say they're not drinking coffee anymore. It was just too much for their system. They will glamorize that. Let's say they're driving everywhere and they have this luxury car. They will glamorize that. Let's say for some reason they don't have that car anymore. They couldn't afford it. They will glamorize the fact that they're walking now. All these walks are, which I would I would uplift those walks too, but I'm speaking conceptually. Then they will, you know, they will say how glamorous that is. If they're wearing tons of jewelry, that is the thing to do. If they get to a point where they can't afford the jewelry, or for whatever reason they don't want to wear it, then they will tell you they're going for a more simple lifestyle. And you buy it because they dress it up for you and they market it to you, whatever it is. And it's one thing that you have to understand is that sometimes you are envying people or you're jealous of people who are not even happy with their situations, but they're selling it to you. Now, we want them to be happy with their situation. We want everybody to be as happy as possible. But it's the idea that so much of the jealousy that flows is really from those who are selling or homing in on those who are selling a lifestyle, no matter what it is. Literally, I heard somebody in the public eye say that she likes her disease. She has something that's considered a disease. And she literally said that she likes it because of what it taught her. Now, I'm not saying it's bad for something to teach you and for her to have such a positive outlook that she would be grateful for what she'd experienced because of what it taught her. But it was almost the way she was talking about it. It could have led someone to desire the disease that she had. which of course nobody should. Yes, you might love the growth that you get from it, but nobody should like it, in my opinion, a disease itself, but maybe the growth that you get, the learning that you get from getting over it, from overcoming it. So, but she kept talking. I think there are people who would have liked it, who would have liked to have what she had, just because she presents herself so beautifully. And, and again, nothing wrong. I'm not criticizing what she was saying. She's a beautiful person. But it was just the idea that I think I just have a difference in semantics. That it would have been one thing for her to say, getting over this disease or overcoming this disease makes her feel empowered. And she loves that rather than loving the disease itself. But I understand what she was trying to say. So you understand what I'm trying to say, that jealousy, especially jealousy about people in the public eye right now, is because people in the public eye can be experts at marketing. And whatever it is, it could be something that is so undesirable, but they will market it to you as they are having this wonderful experience. And you could literally be jealous or envious of a situation that they are themselves not enjoying. So let's go to number 5. Are you depressed? 7 things I want to tell you. So number 5. Now, thinking about some of the stories of today, there was another one that I saw of someone talking about being in a workspace, a work environment, and being in a work environment where you're different. Let's just say for whatever reason, because we have people who listen to the show who are obviously in the United States, people who are from Singapore, from Thailand, from Australia. We have a lot of people from Pennsylvania, from the Finger Lakes, like Geneva, Ithaca, Canandaigua. We have people from New York City who listen, from the Bronx, from Manhattan. We have people all over the world, China. We have people. So there are all these kinds of systems that exist in different ways all over the world. By the way, we love you guys so much everywhere where you are. We're just so glad that you guys are listening to our lives, going to our website, and on our social media. It is just amazing. Make sure, if you want us to mention you on the website, make sure when the live is complete, just leave a little note there and leave a thumbs up. So back to this person that was talking about being in a workplace and being different, identity-wise than the other people that are there. And this is what I want to say about that. It can be very, very challenging when you are in an environment where you're different if you don't have a particular mindset. I think it's a lot easier if you grow up with different kinds of people from all over the world, people with different religious beliefs, people with different economic backgrounds. I think it's better, in my opinion, because that kind of exposure gives, I think, a certain comfort level wherever you go, wherever you may be. So when you are in those spaces and you are different for whatever reason, especially different in a way that, even though you're not doing anything wrong, makes others uncomfortable, it's just that idea that you're not doing anything wrong that I want to home in on. Because those who want to protect access to those spaces, I guess they say gatekeep, but access to those spaces, those who want to keep resources just to their group or whatever the case may be. And again, we have, different instances in different ways all over the world. they can, no matter what you do, make you feel like you're wrong. The way you walk is wrong. What you said, you shouldn't have said. What you said, you were so emphatic. You were so expressive that it was intimidating, and that was wrong. Or you didn't express yourself well enough. You were too quiet. Why are you so quiet? What's wrong? Or you are not working well with a group when you just are trying to focus on the task at hand. Or you are too social with a group. You should be focusing on the task. So you see the pattern. No matter what it is you do, you go on your break, you go just the time allotted, and it's like, oh my goodness, so strict. You're going on these breaks and you have to come back to the minute or earlier. My goodness, so strict. And if there's ever a reason for any deviation, then no matter what you're doing, they're going to find a reason why it's not acceptable. When you are in an environment where you're different, and those differences can be anything. Not everybody. Some environments, people will embrace you and focus on the work and not you or your background or what language you speak or where you're from or how wealthy you are or not, or your political leaning or how you dress. Some places will just accept you. But remember that there are times when you're different that you will be treated in such a way that you can do no right, to make you feel like you can do no right. And if you're not careful, that can start to seep in to how you feel about yourself. You can start to question yourself. You can start to feel and be very insecure. So that's another thing to look at. If you're in an environment where you are, of an identity that's not common to the group, and you seem to be, no matter what you do, there's an issue with it. That another thing people have talked about, being in an environment where you have to constantly make small talk to make others feel comfortable. When you really have the energy to do the job, it's not your job to be a cheerleader and walk around and make sure everybody's happy. You shouldn't have to do that in a work setting. It's not your job, unless it is a part of your job description, unless they somehow put, responsible for the emotional upkeep of the team and responsible for setting the tone and for ensuring that each team member is at optimal, positive behavior level. I mean, if it's there, you're getting paid for it, then that's a different story. But you should not in a workspace be responsible for making other people giggle and laugh, and it's not your responsibility. Now you can say, well, hey, I'm a wonderful person. I like doing that. And it's just, if you enjoy it, that's one thing. But nobody should be in a workspace and feel that it's their responsibility to do the emotional upkeep for the people around them, unless it's in their job description. You should be able to come there and do the work and not have all of these other things put on you. Same in any environment, in school, in college, in high school, elementary school, wherever you are. People, I know a lot of people who follow us are very sensitive, very kind people. And sometimes when you are very kind and sensitive, people will put stuff on you. They will just put stuff on you. And you can end up carrying a lot of things just because they recognize that sensitivity that you have. So you have to be careful about that. All right, so the live, we're starting to reel it in. The live is coming to a close. So I'm going to do the last two. Are you depressed? 7 things I want to tell you. So I want to give you number 6. Number 6 is sort of similar to number 5, being comfortable with yourself. As you grow and as you develop, and this kind of harkens back to some of the other things I was saying as well in the beginning of the live. You can go back and listen and go back and comment. When things start to get more and more chaotic around you, when you're in a situation and everybody starts to be elevated and there's confusion, you should be the one that gets calm. As everybody's thrashing about, you should be the one that becomes still. Assess the situation and carry yourself in that way. When you have that comfort level with yourself, you're also, in my opinion, going to attract a particular kind of ease, a particular kind of peace. So don't let other people getting bothered or unraveling or being chaotic change you from having that calm. Because as a leader, you need to be able to know how to respond in a crisis. You need to be able to be the one who thinks expansively, even on your feet, so that you can help those around you. You're a leader. I know it's just leaders and celebrities that follow us. So think about that comfort level that you have with yourself, and let that show itself in other areas. Okay, and then number 7. Number 7, are you depressed? 7 things I want to tell you. Number 7 is when people criticize you. They say you want to eat the meat and spit out the bones. I think it's important to work on your discernment. When somebody has a criticism of you, and it annoys me for some reason when people say, consider the source, consider the source. I don't know why it annoys me, but it seems appropriate. Maybe I would just say it differently. But when people have a criticism of you, be able to, as much as you can, look at it objectively. You do, in my opinion, want to eat the meat and spit out the bones. You need to develop that discernment. Because when people make criticisms, I remember hearing Inyan Levansan say, if you start to hear a criticism from many people who don't know each other, you might want to start to examine it. Now, there may be cases where that's not true. You may be somebody who just has different ideas, and you've always been someone who thinks differently. And you'll say something and people will laugh at you. And then in 5 years, they'll be doing what you were doing, or in 5 days. So think about those things too. It's not always that you're wrong, but use your discernment so that you're able to say, no, I know who I am. And I know that when this person makes this criticism, that's not a reflection of who I am. I'm very certain I've done the work, I've examined myself, and no, those comments are not consistent with who I am. And then you also want to be able to say, I keep hearing this critique from different people who don't know each other, like Inyan Levansan was saying. Could be something cultural, could be an expectation that people have because of my gender or my background, could be that I just think differently and that threatens people that don't know each other in different spaces. But be able to discern, because you also want to be able to grow. And if there is a critique that's accurate, you want to be able to examine it and improve. But especially if you're a leader, which again, those who follow model poetry are really leaders, know that you also have to be comfortable with who you are. Get a real sense of who you are, so that when you know you're doing the right thing, and the reason there's criticism of you is for the reason there's criticism of a lot of what you do. You're doing the right thing, and you're in a world that there is so much going on that shouldn't be going on. And when you stand up for what's right, just your presence is going to bother people. But don't let that defeat you. Don't let people telling you that you're wrong when you really in your heart are trying to do the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Don't let people persuade you, because that can waste your time and your energy when you want to do what's right and when you're on the right path. Okay, you guys, I'm so glad that you came in today. You guys are absolutely wonderful. Amir Collins, I'm so glad that you were here. I'm so glad that you guys see value in our lives, and we're doing something that's different. Watch out. You're going to see others try to do these lives in the dark. But remember that we started something. Why? You need to have a space where you can come in and relax. Close your eyes, lean back. You can play this while you're washing your hair. You can play this while you have some candles lit and you're just leaning back. You can play this while you are washing the dishes. You can play this on your porch while you're looking out at the lake and you just want some company. You can play this as you sit in your room, just thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to develop your ideas, how you're going to succeed. Many people just like listening to a voice that they know loves them, cares about them, doesn't judge them, wants them to be great. So thank you guys so much for coming to the live. Again, leave a comment on the video, and many of you will be including on our website. And again, we're so happy that so many celebrities and leaders are following us, have endorsed us. You can go to modelpoetry.com to see. Sometimes we put new celebrities that are showing us kindness. It's an amazing community. And thank you to all of those who are looking out to see how you can sponsor our work. We've had so many companies that are contacting us to sponsor our work. So thank you so much for seeing value in what we do. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. You are absolutely wonderful. And we will see you next time.